Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another YouTube review, and as already visible here, I have the Spinfit Omni for you. I would title this at maybe Spinfit latest and greatest question mark, because yeah, this is a bit different from the normal Spinfit, or the CP100 I mean here, and it looks like it's similar to the 360, and we will figure out in this review what these things can or can't. And yeah, Omni, as you might have heard before, is a name that means everything or everyone, like every basically. And Spinfit's telling me here basically this will fit every person. And I am inclined to say probably not. But depending on how well this fares, which we check out later, maybe we're right, but at least this is a pretty comfortable tip. And one thing to keep in mind already, as you can see, this is a relatively short tip IEM. Like this is definitely shorter than most of us. And the claims marketing-wise, they aren't too wild. They just claim, and again, I read this out, enjoy the ease and affordability of upgrading your earphones, unlocking an enhanced sound performance tailored to your preferences. So not much wild here, I just say it's a better ear tip basically. Yeah, that's why, we will also conclude the chapter about the marketing claims. What else? Price-wise. Unfortunately, these are very expensive. These are one set only in this compostable paper, which I do like. Compostable paper packaging is great. Just you throw it away, it will be composted, that's fine. But you get one pair for 10 bucks. That's pretty expensive for one set of ear tips. And in my ranking, price ranking I mean, where ST35 are 3 bucks, Tangsankai 4.6, Compliform 5 to 8, normal Zettner earfit 6.5, Spinfit, the normal ones 7.5, finally 8, Softears liquid silicon 9, X-Elastex 9.5, Omni 10, only beaten by Asla Crystal with 12.5. This is very expensive for an ear tip, and you can't even buy them in, I think, sets of 3, so you really need to know which size you want to have. And that leads me to comfort, because what I have here is size SS, means 10 millimeters. There's also S with 11, MS 11.5, 12 with M, 13 is L, and XL is 14. And yeah, this is a good sizing overall. SS here is exactly what I needed. And I like the size offerings here. Like there's nothing I miss. It is exactly what you would want or what you would need. And that means if you get the right size, which I have for myself here, this is a very comfortable tip. It might be among the most comfortable I have worn in a long time, just because I have the right size for my ear canal and the actually Spinfit mechanism, which I will just fold the tip around. Let's see if I can get that to be done. Is again working really well. And again, the Spinfit mechanism is basically, come on, flip over, ear tip. Yeah. The Spinfit mechanism is this groove here. What this groove does is it makes the Spinfit or the tip actually being able to bend in your ear like this, in all directions. And that is useful because your ear canal is not straight. It's usually like an S shape, and you want something to be flexible, to be bending to your ear canal. And this is working really well for me. And yeah, this tip being on the shorter size here means also this is good for longer or longish nozzle IEMs. And that brings me also to the butt here. You have to be careful because this is a very short tip where you put it on. Like on, for instance, the S12, it's just too short for me. Like I can't get SS to insert as well as I would want. It's just a bit short for that. So if you want to go with for shorter nozzle IEMs, go and size up from where you usually are. I think that should be a good choice with the Omni here. Other than this, I have no issues in terms of comfort. These are really comfortable, and in my ranking I put them on the same level as cut foam tips, so that means X-Elastex can be a tiny bit more comfortable, just a tiny bit, followed by cut foam, on the same level as Spinfit Omni, which is in turn is a bit better than the normal Spinfit, I mean CP360 or CP100. CP360 here, for instance, looks like that, which in turn is about on same as liquid silicon, which is about on par with ST35, which is a bit better than Tangsankai, which in turn is a bit better than SNS, which in turn is a bit better than Crystal, which in turn is a bit better than finally. So yeah, comfortable, definitely it works very well for me, and I think this is the better tip compared to the ST35 and also the CP360 here. Helping this fact as well is that you can see the ring around the outlet here of the CP360 is a bit thicker. That means this one feels more squishy. It conforms a bit better. Over on the opposite side here, the material thickness is about the same. The only thing that has changed here is that the inside mantle of the Omni is a bit thicker, which we talk about in the next chapters. First being obviously noise isolation. And yeah, this is a pretty reasonably well isolating tip. The material, as you can see here, is like medium to medium thick. The mantle is a bit thicker though, and that means it just isolates okay. On my artificial rating, it has managed about a 5.5, which is about on par with the original here, the liquid silicone ear tips. And I'm actually not sure what I rated the CP360 for, but I think they're also in similar ballpark. So that means while this isolates okay, if you are after the most isolating, definitively cut foam is the way to go here. And then next we talk about shaping sound. And yeah, as is always the case, I will throw on measurements later, or you can look them up for yourself on my Squig link. But first, the objective. And to my ear, these don't do much to the sound at all. Like compared to my benchmark, which is something medium wide outlet, so like 4.5mm outlet, they sound exactly the same to my ear. They don't seem to be any effect on upper treble extension. Mid treble seems to be basically the same. And yeah, also bass is pretty much unchanged, so I don't hear any difference that is worth mentioning. And now we come to objective. And yeah, things get a bit more interesting here. Somehow on the AJ07M, it has less bass and less treble. And first I assumed this was a screw up on my part, so I did a measurement again, and it still looked the same. I got it in the pinner, the artificial pinner I have, and also looked the same. On the quintet, this reduction is less noticeable to me, but it is still present. Like you can see a measured difference. I don't think it will be audible because it's very low. It's like 1 to maximum 3 decibels, like really just parts. So I don't think you will be able to perceive it on the quintet. But interestingly, there is a reduction in both ends here, which is strange. It could be that maybe I didn't get to insert this like perfectly. Maybe it just squished a tiny bit and it didn't seal perfectly. Or maybe because it's a bit further out, because yeah, this tip, or further in on the other side, because you can insert this very deep because it's so small. Maybe that reduces resonance for bass and treble. But yeah, it is visible. I just want to tell you, I couldn't perceive it. It could be, again, this is one of those things, because my ear is different than the coupler, like it will be a bit further out in my ear, but it's just inserts less deep, and therefore I can't perceive it. But it is measurable, and it could be possible you could perceive a reduction in bass and treble, judging by the objective measurements here. Which brings me to additional factors. As stated before, the inside here is definitively thicker. That means it doesn't expand as well, and that means getting this on thick nozzle IEMs is a bit difficult. I could force this on AJ07M, and I did, but it doesn't feel good. It definitely is not made to be put on nozzles of 6.4mm. I would say maximum like 6mm or so you should be able to get this somewhat comfortably on, but 6.4 is just a bit much. And yeah, that means, again, if you have thick nozzles, don't put it on. It will probably stretch it too much over time and your tip will tear apart. Another thing that I want to say is the shaping, again, is a bit different. And for me, this one can insert a bit deeper than the CP360. So this is for, in my opinion, for really deep insertion possible. But again, if you don't want this, size it a bit up, then it will sit a bit further outside in your ear canal. And other than that, the material is just a silicone. It doesn't feel sticky, it doesn't feel not sticky, it's just in the middle. And it's easy to clean, just rinse it under warm water, you'll be fine. Use some soap, absolutely okay. And alcohol should also absolutely not be an issue here. Yeah, and other than that, I think that's it. There isn't much to talk. This is not a special ear tip. Just maybe be careful when pulling it off, because I have managed to tear apart or destroy 2 sets of CP360 already, because the mantle on the inside here, like behind this, where actually the Spinfit mechanism is very sensitive. And it does look like this one is a bit thicker there, but not by a lot. So just be careful when removing it or when mounting it. And that brings me to the conclusion. As stated before, my provocative question is this Spinfit latest and greatest? And personally, I think yes, this is Spinfit's best fitting ear tip so far. It fits very comfortably, it fits very safe. But again, you need to really want to have either a deep inserting IEM, because yeah, this can go really deep due to the mechanism and the shortness of it, or you size it a bit up. But because they have all of the sizes you would want, from SS to XL, you should be able to just find the tip that you need. And therefore, I will recommend the Omni, even though they're very expensive with $10 per pair. This is one of the most expensive tips I have reviewed. I still think it could be worth it. If you know you have an IEM you really like and you won't tip swap it that often, I think this could be worth it. Because I personally wouldn't risk it just removing it on different IEMs often, because still the bending thing here is a breaking point that will probably tear apart at some point, just because that's how material works. So if you have an IEM where you really like it on, I think this is absolutely a good shot to take. Again, bit longer nozzles or medium long nozzles are the way to go in my opinion. But if you size it up, it should also be your final number nozzles. And that's the end of the review. I like this. Recommend it, minus the price, which is the time. Okay. If you have questions, recommendations, or criticisms of any kind, please leave a comment. Donspektor out.